What's going on, guys? Austin here, and in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Extra Points Week 8 5-minute fantasy booming and busting quarterbacks. So my start of the week, I'm going to say, is Kirk Cousins at home against Dallas. Now, both teams are coming off a bye, but Kirk Cousins has been having a pretty good – no, Kirk Cousins has been having an excellent season. I don't know why he's constantly getting disrespected. He always is, but – this Dallas defense should be no problem. They're a good defense, but they're not a great defense. They've got one very good cornerback at the Defensive Player of the Year in Trayvon Diggs, and they've got an excellent middle linebacker in Micah Parsons. But the Minnesota Vikings challenged that with who they believe could be the best running back in the NFL in Dalvin Cook, and maybe the best wide receiving duo in the NFL with Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson. So that, coupled with the fact that Kirk Cousins has been able to hit a lot of weapons and avoid turnovers this year, should bode well for him at home against Dallas. I'm going to say Teddy Bridgewater against the Washington football team. Now, this is at home for Denver. Washington is favored by 3, which I don't buy much into that. But if Washington is able to score some, which they have been shown to be able to score some points, their defense is also very susceptible to giving up points. They've got a decent front seven, which leads me to believe that they're going to rely a little bit more on the passing game than on the running game. And Denver's got weapons. You know, they've got Tim Patrick. They've got Cortland Sutton. They've got good guys, even though, you know, people like Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler are hurt. They've still got very good weapons on average. So I'd like to see Teddy Bridgewater in some starting lineups this week. Sam Darnold at Atlanta. Now, this might be Sam Darnold's last chance to save a winning season for this Carolina Panthers team. They've got a couple games left before the bye, I think maybe 2. And I believe after the bye, Christian McCaffrey should be coming back. Christian McCaffrey was slated to possibly come back by week 4 after a week of missing out. And then they decided, you know what, we're just going to put him on IR. I think this is just kind of like a careful way of making sure that he's fully healthy. But having a 500 team with you know, the addition of Christian McCaffrey is going to be really great for them. And this Atlanta defense is really porous. It's not great. Carson Wentz against the Tennessee Titans. Now, Carson Wentz has been having an excellent season so far. He's been really limiting turnovers. He just tied Peyton Manning in Colts history for the most consecutive games with 2 touchdowns and no interceptions at 4, which is crazy because it doesn't sound like a lot. But anytime that you can be on a list with Peyton Manning and above a list that would also include Andrew Luck. Pretty great list. Pretty great company. And then I'm going to say Daniel Jones at Kansas City. Kansas City and Tennessee alike, they're both susceptible to offensive performances, you know, being put on them. You know, we've seen Baker Mayfield. We've seen Lamar Jackson. We've seen Josh Allen. We've seen Justin Herbert just bust the heads of the Kansas City Chiefs. And while Daniel Jones is not in that company, Daniel Jones might be just as athletic as Lamar Jackson, a tick behind him. But Kansas City can't stop the run. And I think there's going to be a few designed runs. They're not as banged up as Tennessee. Like, Tennessee has no players in the secondary right now. But they're just a bad defense in general. And then my busts this week, I'm going to say, are Thomas Edward Patrick Brady III at the New Orleans Saints, who the Saints have pretty much had his number over the last couple of years. Well, I guess last year and somewhat in the past. Their defense is really, really effective at stopping Brady. Unfortunately for them, in the playoffs last year, the Bucs got the better of them, but Brady didn't have a great game there either. I'm going to say Dak Prescott at Minnesota. Now, Minnesota is an intense place to play. It's cold. It's not like Dallas. And I think Minnesota's defense is just a little bit better than Dallas's defense, which is why I would say to sit Dak Prescott, but you can start Kirk Cousins. I'm going to say sit Taylor Heinicke, and I know a lot of people haven't really started Taylor Heinicke this season, but you know, with the bye weeks coming out, it's getting harder and harder to find, you know, okay, this is my consistent, you know, week 1 guy. And, you know, say you have, you know, Lamar Jackson, and, you know, you've been riding Taylor Heinicke as your backup because, you know, he might have had 1 or 2 good matchups. You know, I would drop him, pick up a Daniel Jones, pick up a Carson Wentz, pick up a Kirk Cousins if they're available. I'm going to say Matt Ryan versus Carolina. Now, this Carolina defense is getting Stephon Gilmore injected in. He was available and allowed to play last week, but he said he didn't quite feel fully ready. And so, you know, the cornerbacks in that Carolina defense are probably the best collection of cornerbacks that I've seen since Denver's no-fly zone. They've got A.J. Bouye, they've got C.J. Henderson, and now they've got the former Defensive Player of the Year, Stephon Gilmore. I believe Stephon Gilmore is going to be matched up on Kyle Pitts. This is just pure speculation, but I think that's the best matchup for Carolina there. And then you're left with Russell Gage and Calvin Ridley for the Carolina passing attack. And I think Matt Ryan is going to be severely limited. I think most of his throws are going to get stuck going to Cordarrelle Patterson. And then I'm also going to say Mac Jones at the Chargers. The Chargers are coming off a bye. They do have good defensive players. They've got, star cornerback, star safety, star defensive end. So they've got players, plus Brandon Staley, very good at coaching up linebackers. Now this but this Chargers defense is prone to give up big rushing yards, which is another reason why I might say to sit Mac Jones. It's because while Mac Jones might be getting pressured and his receivers might be getting covered, and there might be a safety over the top, Derwin James, who's very good at stopping big plays, the running game is definitely more susceptible to giving up chunks. And that's been New England's MO. They've been running the football extremely well. I think the running back right there now is Damian Harris. Of course, they have James White. He's always been more of a receiving back, but good reasons not to start Mac Jones. All right, guys, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments down below. Be sure to watch our other videos. We should be having Extra Points 5-Minute Fantasy Week 8 running backs next.